any aspect of the reforms that affected their pockets, procurement reform, I was like head on in a fight with the political class. They could not stand it. If you heard them calling me Madam Due Process, it wasn't, those of them that hated due process weren't calling me that out of adulation. They were calling me out of spite. But the important thing is that by the time I finished together with our team to try to fix that public procurement system, even they admitted that they didn't think I was going to survive the kind of pressure that they put me under. So my summary, Ayo, is that experience, we need to innovate an entirely new politics for Nigeria. It is time for a new politics that will admit people like you to happen. 55% of you sitting and watching me should be ready to get into politics. If by 2023, you should not just astute. By the time I go forth as a I don't need to run.
Thank you, man.
I don't need to run.
Can I just throw something in very quickly?
Okay.
You know, one of the things that I always say to people when I talk about not needing political experience is I actually use the example of Antiobi. And what I say is that, like she just said to us, she went in without political experience and disrupted the political system. When she was Madam Due Process, but she was able to go in there and do great things without having political experience. If she could do it then as minister, you can imagine what I can do as president.
All right. Okay, you know what? Before Samuel, I was going to ask you a question, but this conversation, I'll come back to you. So the question I'm going to ask now is this. Everybody believes that we need a credible alternative to oppose the status quo. And some people are just asking, if these two could merge into one, but we will get there. We will get there. We're still going to get there. I know we've seen some of the questions you are sending. Now, moving on to Samuel. Let me come back to Samuel. Samuel Frank, you've heard what both of them have said. And let me bring it back to the issue of funding. To lead, Mrs. Kwesili has said it, FD has said it. You need to mobilize resources, to mobilize people, to get to the desired state that you see for them. Now, at the age of 19, I'm sure you didn't have millions in your account. And how did that affect your campaign? Do you think money is a key factor in aspiring for political office, especially in a country like Nigeria at a time like this? Is money the driving force?
Okay, let's get things straight. We've been placed in this political system in Nigeria where we are because our political leaders, in quotes, give young people like us 2,000 naira to sell our destiny of 4 years. Let's get it straight. What we need is not money. If people can believe in what you're set to do in the office, you've gotten all you need. Gotten all you need. I didn't have the millions to run a campaign. I know people who had 6 million on standby to run against me. I didn't have all the millions. But then once people can believe in what you're set to do in office, no matter the amount of support you need, they will deliver it to you. A very clear example is my very wonderful political mentor here. He does not know, but I will tell him now, live. Yes. And I followed part of what he was doing before I got into office. So what he did recently on his November, using funds of Nigerians like us who believe in what he said to do in office. I did the same. So replicating the same process, what people need to do is have confidence in your ability to deliver good governance. Until they can believe in you delivering good governance, they will not support you. So what you need to now do is to buy the support by giving them money. Youths, can we keep receiving 5,000 naira for 4 years? No, I need to hear you. Can we keep collecting 5,000 naira to sell for 4 years?
Let's go there. So you say your integrity is impeccable. People are ready to follow you. Okay, let me go back to Mrs. Ezekwesili. Now, this is my next question. I personally know that sometimes you may have to dine with the devil to get to where you're going. Meaning that there are some people who hold the wheel of support and loyalty of a catchment of people that you may need to get you there. In politics, there are bargains, there are compromises. When Pharaoh gave Joseph an Egyptian wife, he couldn't reject, he had to marry her. Daniel was given a Babylonian name. He had answer to that Babylonian name, even though he knew that he was Hebrew. So sometimes in politics, you have to make some compromise. I mean, that is inevitable. Now, what I'm asking, Ma, is like one good question young people will ask is, be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. That is what the Bible says. So when you, if in your party, for example, they say you have to run with this person, because no single one man can say he's the owner of the entire party. It's the party that determines who your running mate is. So if you say this is the person I would have wanted, and the party says no, this is the person we are giving you, and so the person does not seem to be in alignment or in complete alignment with your values, your perceptions, your position on certain issues. How do you manage this? Could be too far when it comes to compromise on the corridors of power.
You know, I've always been known, for those of you that follow me publicly, you know that one of the basic teachings of my dad that I have shared publicly is that he says to us to be open to negotiating our views when superior information is presented us, but that we must never, ever be willing to negotiate our values. Your values epitomize the person that you are. The minute that you can negotiate your values, you're gone. So regardless of the kinds of consensus that you need to build in politics, one thing that must remain is the core essence of the values that you stand for. The second point to that question is that you could imagine a situation where Naaman, after believing in the God of Elisha, did say something. He said, you know, when I go back to Syria, you would see me go down when my king is worshiping. But that does not in any way mean that the God of Israel is not the God that I serve. What that gentleman was saying is that certain things related to office may require you to do some of the things like Naaman, the king bowing and he bows. It doesn't mean he's bowing to any god of the king of Syria. The God of Israel is his God. That very deft definition of who you are constantly, you can't negotiate it. They are just my fundamental Christian values that it doesn't matter what you have to offer. I'm sorry, I'm not going to negotiate. You start, it's a slippery slope, and you cannot know how far that takes you. The other point, Christian, is that actually you don't have to assume that certain catchments are the catchments that you appeal to. One of the things that I have found in running for presidency is that you can actually build your own trail. You can build your own trail. Where are your structures? And you know what I have figured out? What I have figured out is that the old politicians solve structural problems. People like me solve distribution. Distribution problem is that my message needs to get to the people whose minds need to change in a certain direction. They build a network amongst themselves and they become the human bodies that do a particular thing on election day. So you would not see physical structure, but on election date, your response to message that distributes and God orientation and mindset.
Thank you very much, Mark. FD, what's your perception on this?
Oh, and we share a similar perception on several things. Some people heard me when I said in May, as I was declaring for my race for the presidency, and I said, I will not compromise my values to win an election. And I said it this way. I said, because my values are who I am. And if I lose who I am and I win an election, I have still lost everything. And Nigerians would have lost more because they would have bought a decoy. They would have bought a fake.
Hey, Jibril?
But if I lose myself and then lose the election, I said it will be a tragedy. If I keep my values and lose an election, I would have learned something. But if I lose, I'll keep my values, and win the election, I said it will be a miracle. Because generally, people like us are naturally or generally within this political system not designed to win, except we disrupt. And that disruption is what we are calling nation building. What we have said is that governance is too important to the lives of people to be left in the hands of that nation builders. What to do about building, who understand the technique, the technology, and using all the things that we need to do. These are the people that we need to get into positions of power to be able to empower the people to be able to live the lives that they can. Now, this is the major, the big idea that I want to give to you, is that therefore we must make sure that we uphold our values and use every way that we can to disrupt the system so that the system, we are called the light of the world. When we go into darkness, we don't become like darkness. Darkness becomes like light. We are the salt of the earth. When we enter into anywhere, we begin to season that place. If we lose our salt, our flavor, then we have become useless. That is why we must never lose our values. We must use our values to influence the community, which is mainly filled with politicians. But more importantly, we must bring other people like ourselves. Which was why I started that conversation about what I was doing in politics. I didn't run for office just to get there and be president. I was running for office to galvanize a generation of people who will have the right values. And those are people like Ferdinand Adimefe, who are here today. They are governors, they are presidents, presidential candidates, they are members of House of Assembly. Today, we are seeing a new generation of people that are running, and many of them are saying, I'm running, fella, because you ran. That is why we are doing what we're doing. And there are people who have similar values. Together, we now have mass that can change the political system, that will change the political system. And I've said it now. 2019, money will fail. Because there are believers that are going to rise out of the crevices, those places we've been hiding, those places that we've been doubting. There are believers that are going to rise. They are not going to collect 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Give you one very quick statistics. People talk about Ekiti State as though, this is how they buy 930,000 registered members with voters card in Ekiti. Are you there? Out of those 900,000, 300,000 of them voted. 600,000 did not vote. They saw 4,000 naira from PDP, they didn't collect. They saw 5,000 naira from PDP, they didn't collect. 600,000. Why? Because they didn't believe. The currency of the new Nigeria is belief. The currency of the old Nigeria is money. We are asking everybody who wants a new Nigeria to come out and believe and sacrifice and let us get this thing done. And guess what? 2019 will be a pleasant surprise for the whole political order.
As our guests are really fire, I mean, they are dishing it out. And I'm glad that this are the kind of statements we are beginning to hear from the mouth of new generation politicians. Now.
All right, thank you very much, Deacon Ayo. But before then, please send your written questions to the Anchors Department via the ushers if you have any questions. If you have any questions, just hand it over to the Anchors Department via the ushers so we can take your questions as soon as possible. All right, because we have a few more minutes to round off the talk show. Thank you. All right, so my question is very simple, all the way. Yes, it's been said over time, our Father in the Lord, Pastor Ye, that we Christians should go into the corridor of powers. You talked about, I had some questions, but you've shed more light to it, being the light in our world, and also having a great integrity to go alongside being a political aspirant. My question is this. We want to know, what are the things to look out for if you want to choose a party to vote for? Over to you, ma'am.
I think is for. By the time I decided that I would throw my hat in the ring, there were ACPN, and the key game changer for me was that this is one party amongst other parties that had been part of the second generation of parties. It's about 15 years. But this is a party that refused to be assimilated by the two dominant parties that are really one entity, the APC-PDP family. This party remained strong and committed to its values. It actually fought a serious war to maintain its independence. For me, I like people who have character. You can buy competence. You can buy capacity by character. And so, for me, that party stood the test of time, and therefore it was a platform to go into. Any of us as Christians that want to do anything in politics, the people that form the core of the party should matter to you. Their competence, their capacity, but even more than any other thing, their character. Number two, their understanding of nation building. What is it that has made us not become the great country that we could potentially have been all these decades? It's because our own brand of political class think that is where money is made. In other societies, if you want to make money, it's private sector you go to. You don't go to public sector. But our own politicians have distorted what the rest of the world knows and practices. They've decided to make money, you go to public sector. If you go to the private sector. This party has been at the forefront of saying that is not right. We have to realign the incentives in our society. That caught my attention. Number three is this sense that the citizens have not understood how powerful they are. The greatest power of citizens is guaranteed in democracy. You remember how I started this concept that of the citizen is the greatest office in the land. How many of you know of that, of the office of the citizen? I've always said, act. Why? Because in a democracy that is defined as government of the people, for the people, by the people, you realize that it is the people that can confer legitimacy to any office. Without the action of the citizens, there's no office of the president. There's no office of the governor or of any lawmaker. Therefore, an awakened citizenry can actually completely redefine Nigerian politics. The reason that the political class run for the political class, enjoy for the political class, that which should be proper governance for results to tackle poverty, is because the citizens have mostly been asleep. This party to the people. It's not a party of politicians. It's a party of the Nigerian people. So when you're looking out for what party to join, I don't need to tell you that there's a party called Allied Congress Party of Nigeria. It is a party that reflects the values, the vision, common identity of all Nigerians who have, if you don't want failure again concerning our country, that's the party you want to pitch your tent with. God bless you.
All right. Pastor, I don't know why I'm always calling you a pastor. Pastor FD, yes. Somebody say Pastor FD. Signed, sealed. All right, so what are the things to look out for in choosing a party?
All right, so it was clear to me that the Nigeria of our dreams is not a better Nigeria than the one we have. It's a new Nigeria. And every people, this Nigeria today was a Nigeria that clearly is not working. The Nigeria we have today is a Nigeria where people don't feel like they find opportunities to grow. What I was looking for was a platform that believed in a new Nigeria, that believed in a new Nigeria where there will be opportunities for all. Say you can go, you can't go. I wanted a new system that was not the old political system. So everything I wanted was new. It was clear to me that the new ideology and the new thinking we had could not be found in any of the old skins, not be any of the old political parties. So it was clear to me we were going to be looking for a new party. But like Mrs. Exekosili said, it was also important that you would have to find people of like minds. And we were not going to set up the party for one simple reason. There has never been a founder candidate party. In other words, the person who founded the party and who was a candidate on the party that has ever won presidency in Nigeria. So we needed to find a party that was already in existence so that people truly you can find internal democracy within that party. And so basically I knew I wanted people, alliance, I wanted to work together to deliver a new Nigeria. So naturally, first of all, Alliance for New Nigeria was the name of the party. And it wasn't I that formed it, it was a party that was already formed. The second thing that I found out was when I started looking deeper into Alliance for New Nigeria, and the first thing we found out was what are the values of Alliance for New Nigeria were three of them: transparency, integrity, and excellence. These are the three things I've always stood for all of my life. So I found home there. The last thing that we found out was that the moment they introduced themselves and we met, they said, we are not politicians. We are field of politics. And so we are bringing in a new concept into this game so that we will disrupt and change it to deliver a new Nigeria. Once again, I found exactly what I was looking for. So what I found is that people like myself are the ones that feel Alliance. There are people who believe in Nigeria, who love Nigeria, who have a track record of doing one last thing. Sometime in the course of this whole running to win the candidacy, an old politician or an experienced politician who used to be a member of the PDP, was an executive in PDP, came in, and with a lot of money, the guy came into the party and started trying to throw money around. The money that we had was what we were getting from crowdfunding. But guess what? Because the values of the party stood strong, the party's ANN said, no, ANN is not for sale. And they turned out 200,000 to every delegate. Lost 240 delegates and was only able to get 7. Whereas I, that didn't give 1 kobo to any delegate, won that election because the party said no, politics will fail in this party as it will fail in February 2019. So I found a party that believed in what I believe. that has a vision for what I have a vision for and has a pathway that is similar. So we've really I just found home. That was what I did. And that's what everybody should look for. Look for your home in the political space and you'll get the right party. If you're one of those kind of people, then I don't need to recommend to you. I'm sure that I say it this way. Anybody who is not happy with PDP or APC is automatically a member of ANN, whether you have registered or not. Be a member, you can only go and legitimize your membership because this is what it is that we're doing.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Dikin.
All right, we're going on the softer side. There's no political candidate that Mrs. Ezekwesili's husband is here with us also, Pastor Ezekwesili, and we appreciate him. We're happy to have her. And the place of family is key. Well, we know that you are deeply in love with your wife. It's there for everybody to see. And we know also that anywhere we see your husband, we always see. Samuel, do you have a girlfriend? At 19. But when they said they've come to disrupt the current status. So the family is key because in Nigeria we are strong about family values. I just want to briefly know, on behalf of the young people, do you believe that family should be involved? Because you will hear it's bring my family into it, leave our privacy alone. Is your wife in support of this? How much support is she giving? Do you think she's willing and able to shoulder the responsibilities of being the mother of the nation? That's the question I'm going to ask you. And then what I'm going to throw to Mrs. Obi is, Ezekwesili, I know he's here, but we want to hear from you. Is he in support of this? Is he ready to be, if possible, the first gentleman of Nigeria? So let's hear from you, FD.
So I'll start by saying yes, and not just any yes, the biggest yes that you can imagine. And those who have been a part of our campaign team will say to you that my wife has been, first and foremost, my greatest supporter, my greatest cheerleader, and my greatest fan. And if you guys don't mind, I know she probably is watching online now. Please, can you guys help me give my wife, and bless you, Tara. Thank you. She's been not only involved in everything, and you can see even on her timeline, she's always posting about it. She's always cheering me on and telling me how proud she is of what it is I'm doing. And I know that she's ready. Truly. No, I mean, and how do you know? Because even without any position of first lady of any of those things, she has been an inspiration, and I'm sure women here are able to testify. She's been an inspiration to even men, especially as it relates to business, managing business, building structure, getting people to become all that they want to be. And so she's been an inspiration. And I think that the platform of being the wife of the president is only going to help her do so much more. But that's not all. I believe that my kids have been the greatest support also. Right? And some people saw a tweet that I put out, and I screenshot a message from my son. And he said, "Daddy, I miss you so much, but I know why you're doing this, and this is for my generation." And he said to me, I know it's worth it. So a lot of times people don't know the kind of sacrifice that the families of people who go into on this journey, into political settings, the kind of sacrifice they have to endure. One night at home in 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. And so I want you to please, no matter what it is that you do, never attack the families of the people who are politicians, because they are paying a huge price. Encourage them so that they can continue to encourage the people that you want. And I'm very glad that my wife and my family have been so encouraging. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ezekwesili, over to you, ma'am.
So, we have a family vision. And I recommend to every one of you, as you begin to think of marriage, family vision. Because once you have a family vision, there is no independent vision of any of you in marriage. everything that you do has to be on the basis of that family vision. When I spent 6.5 years in government, it was because there was a family vision. And so all the suffering that had to put on us, everybody was glad to go through it. That time would say to people, we have donated my baby to Nigeria for the period of time that she has to be there. That's him. Pastor gets to where I'm going even before I get there. Because spiritually, he's my counselor. He's my pastor. And I am very comfortable. You call me all kinds of titles. If you read my biography, you would say she did this, she did that, she did that. The joy that I derive in knowing that there is a certain gentleman called Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili, to whom I'm simply his baby. There's nothing that even comes close to that. My heart is knit with his heart. And nothing about our relationship is for camera. If I'm doing this, you better know that it's because he is right there, saying to me as he normally does. I would say to Pastor would say, take your hand and put it on this roof and put off the... I can't get to the roof. I can't put it up. He says, put it up. I say, I can't. It can't get there. He said, baby, if I kick you, you'll bounce up and take that roof out. So that's the person that he is on this journey with me. If you want to know about my children, they are the ones that, in fact, the best website in this political campaign season is actually the obi2019.com website. Those of you that love journeys, you want to take a journey there. obi2019.com. It was built by Chine and Chuba Ezekwesili, our twin sons. Chidera, our third son, is huge in the campaign every day. So as far as family goes, we're in it together. And sometimes I feel so sad for them because, frankly speaking, I'd already signed off from anything to do with government. But I ended up at a point where it was up to here for me that we were faced again. Nigerians choose between two the evils, but they were being pretended to that there is something lesser of any evil. Evil is evil, and I don't want you to choose any evil. That is also right.
Thank you very much, man. Samuel, I wouldn't want you out of this conversation, but I know you have parents who understand the dangers, the rigors of running for government in student union on campuses. It is not news that some can get violent, especially on campuses. So what were your parents' opinions and perceptions about you running for president? Just 1 minute before.
Convinced them I had prayed about and had gotten a go-ahead from God. So when I told them, my dad first asked, have you prayed? God, you. I said I should go. Okay, you have my support. And every single day from the day my campaign started, my dad, my mom, and my 4 siblings, every single day were uploading my campaign flyers on Facebook. Every declared on August 1st to August 23rd when the elections actually held. Every single day, my dad, my mom, and my 4 siblings uploaded on their Facebook about my campaign.
So there is family support.
Definitely.
All right, Sabrina, over to you.
Thank you very much. There are a lot of questions here, but we won't be able to take a lot of them. I just have one. And this says, I am a Nigerian in diaspora, and I too and my friends abroad are fed up with what is happening in Nigeria political system involved. And that's to you, ma'am, Dan, to FD.
So I only just got back from London last night. And that's because I was engaging with people like them who are in the diaspora, although I was a guest of Chatham House. One key point that I made to them is that anybody in the diaspora presents for Nigeria 3 types of partnerships and networks that they can bring with them a lot of knowledge. Nigerians are said to be the highest trained non-nationals of the countries where they live. So the average education that you would find amongst them is a master's degree, which many other nationals don't have in countries where they are sojourners of. So knowledge stock is huge amongst our diaspora. And the third thing is finance. Nigerians abroad remit about $25 billion to the home country annually. I mean, that's huge. I mean, the average budget, if you even sort of escalated it to $50 billion, that would still represent about half the annual budget of the country. So that's significant. What it means is that they are enormously influential. You need to begin to know how to use that influence. The influence can be exercised through. She went to our website, obi2019.com, and read up the manifesto that everybody agrees trumps all other manifestos in this presidential election. She would be able to direct people and say, you know what, Obi is the candidate for any Nigerian that wants a Nigeria that accelerates development. They would also, beyond voice, get the issues that matter for development as the issues that all candidates focus on. Matters to her as someone in the diaspora. A number of them would love to come back to a better Nigeria where they can do direct contribution of their skills and their talents. So they should have issues that matter and keep putting those issues out there so that all candidates who haven't even thought of those issues will begin to think of them.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right, just one word for those.
It is you can still get involved. That's get involved. And to know that, just like Dr. Mrs. Ezekwesili said, most of them have access to knowledge. They have access to finance that we don't have. But I think the one most important thing the people in diaspora have is that I keep saying to them, they are already living in the future. Whereas here we are still praying, God, let there be light at home. They are already living in that promise of Nigeria that there will be constant power. They're already living in a place where public education is good, where public transportation is good. So to them, they can understand what it is promised to the people because they are living in the reality of that promise. What they need to do is to find the people like us and to connect with people like us, especially by supporting us financially, okay? Supporting Nigeria financially to go and vote for the people that will deliver the nation that they have. And I tell them something that is very interesting. I say to them that if you don't fix Nigeria today because you think you are in diaspora, Nigeria will continue to get worse. And the people you care about in Nigeria will continue to get in a worse situation, and then your own money is not even taking you home abroad. That's number one. Number two, no matter how well you are doing abroad, most people still want to know where are you from because of the color of your skin. And if your national or your natural identity is a failed country, no matter how successful you are, you will still carry the pain of that failed country and the label of failure over your success. We have found something that ordinary citizens of great nations will forever be treated better than successful citizens of failed countries. So it is involved. And the way to get involved is God's grace, and by us getting in there, this is one of the promises that I have. In diaspora will be able to vote. But between now and when they can vote, we are saying to them, use your tongue. It's called voice. Call the people that you have send money to at home and tell all of them, the next $100 I want to send to you, Just show me your PVC and then I will send it. This is the money, but I will send it. So make it, because guess what? Politicians come, give money to these people, and you don't see them for 4 years. The persons that keep the economy of the rural areas going are those in the diaspora of the rural areas, whether in the city or out of the country. But when we send money home, we don't send instruction home. We don't tell them what to do. But when the politician comes, he will give them 2,000 naira and tell them exactly what to do. We must change and make sure that when we're sending money home, we give instruction. And this is what it is that we've been doing.
Thank you very much. If you can't use your thumb, use your... If you can't use your thumb, use your... It's been a great time. Thank you very much. But the conversation doesn't stop here. It won't stop here. We're enjoying you to kindly share your social and Twitter hashtag Corridors of Power. You can at least answer all our questions.
My social handles are Fela Dorotoye on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Fela Dorotoye. And the website for the campaign is fela2019.com. And there you will see all of the promise. We'll see our 10-point agenda and how we will take Nigeria, building a team of people of like minds, how we will build a new Nigeria where there will be opportunities for all, and where the son of a nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. And you will be able to see how the pathway is a realistic pathway to getting there. And so please visit.
And it's easy to know why. When countries don't grow, what grows is poverty. We have not been growing in the way that would reduce poverty. Extremely poor Nigerians, making us the world capital of extreme poverty, overtaking India, which is 7 times our population, is a sacrilege. And therefore, this woman is running because we know that economic growth is not rocket science. China did the right kinds of economic policies. They practiced certain level of good governance, and in less than 3 decades, they lifted 700 million people out of poverty. China has shown us that it can be done. We know that's what we want to make happen. We also want to make happen every one of you. In oil will become irrelevant. What we want is that education will be the new oil. Human capital will be the new economy. If that's the kind of Obi2019.com and be a volunteer or donate to our campaign. God bless you all. It's been wonderful being with you today.
Thank you. What about you, Frank?
Okay. My final words to every single one here. I put up an article not too long ago on First, and I said something. Is there hope for Nigeria? When we look at everything surrounding us, is there hope for Nigeria? You looking at me here, you are the hope for this country. Until we realize this, the new Nigeria, the better Nigeria will not come. Can you tap your neighbor and say, you are the hope for Nigeria? You are the hope for a better Nigeria. You are the hope for it. Oh God, the creation. It says, Nigeria, you know the truth. Can't stand by the truth. It's the year for all of us.
Very much. The last word from FD.
Well, As we go in towards the Christmas seasons, I can almost begin to say to you, Merry Christmas in advance and a Happy New Year. But please understand that 2019 is not just a new year. It's a special year. Being the year of choice. It's the year that we will have and how our future, the future we will give to our children will be. This is a year of choice. It's a year of choice between the old and the new. It's not between political parties. It's between the old politicians and the old systems and a new generation of nation builders to build us the nation that we truly desire. It is already blessed enough to be. Nigeria is a blessed country, but we must become a country we have today we are ashamed of it because too many people are suffering from this. We cannot be having a nation so blessed and yet have to be having the poorest people in the world in this country. So, to cut the long story short, this must be the year that the people, young people, must arise and decide that it is time to shift the direction that we're going. If you want to shift that direction, you understand what to do. Nigeria has the opportunity to become a new nation where there will be opportunities for everyone, where the son of a nobody will become somebody, even if you don't know anybody, where each and every one of us can actualize our dreams and our hopes. And it will take good governance. People are ready. We can make it happen. Let's deliver the future of this great nation. God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Can we give our guests a warm round of applause? We celebrate Samuel Frank, we celebrate Mrs. Obias Ekwesili, and we celebrate FD Mr. Fela Jotoye. I want to thank Sabrina Ozma for co-hosting this talk show with me. Don't go anywhere, Pastor Nathaniel Bassey is still coming up. And I think in summary, not just the people sitting here, each one of us has a role to play. And our prayer is that at the junction of destiny, we will not booth in the name of Jesus. It's been wonderful having a sitting president and two aspiring presidents. Thank you very much.